It's my pleasure to introduce to you my friend, your friend, my brother, your brother, the roaring lion of CWA, Chris Shelton.
Thank you. Thanks, Dennis. It's good to be back home in District 1. Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate your insights, your leadership, and your friendship. I heard you gave a great speech yesterday, and I thank you for stealing some of my thunder. But I also thank you for pushing CWA's program better than any other district in this country. I may cover some of the same highlights that you did yesterday, but they are important examples for the entire union. District 1 has always been a leader in CWA, driving us forward on all sides of the CWA triangle, using our politics and community activism to support our organizing and our ability to represent our members. Dennis is a leader for all of CWA, and every day I am thankful that I was able to leave District 1 in his capable hands. I see many old friends around the room, some new ones too. It's important to recognize the team that leads the district and supports our programs. Gladys, Bob, Hetty, Billy, Debbie, Pat, and all the rest of the District 1 staff, please stand up and be recognized. Every one of us in this room is lucky to work under a union contract. Everything I have, my house, my ability to have raised my children and spoil my grandchildren is because of our union and the benefits that we fought for over the 50 years that I've been a member of CWA. And now we have the Trump regime threatening our movement, our economic future, and our democracy. Every day I wake up, I read the newspaper or watch TV, and I think to myself, you cannot make this shit up. You just can't make it up. The President of the United States praising Nazis and using race to divide us rather than bring us together. It is nauseating and destructive to our democracy. Trump's first appointee to the Supreme Court cast the fifth vote to make public sector a national right to work for less group. The case was designed to weaken our movement, but we will not let it. I'm sure that the litmus test for his second Supreme Court appointment was the central question of our time. Is the potential nominee willing to grant Trump a guaranteed get-out-of-jail-free card? That's why he picked this guy. Well, the last I checked, the Constitution says we elect a president, not a king, and he's got to live by the laws of this land, too. Donald Trump is doing so many bad things to our country that it's hard to keep track of them. But let's focus on the multi-trillion-dollar tax cut for the corporations and the millionaires and the billionaires. Yes, I know it put a few bucks a week in some of our members' paychecks. But Trump's promise that every American worker was going to get a $4,000 raise thanks to the tax cut was just a lot of bullshit. A handful of workers got a one-time $1,000 bonus only because CWA demanded it and AT&T started it because we demanded it. But no worker in this country has seen the $4,000 raise that they were promised by the President of the United States and his flunkies in the Congress, or the CEOs that came out like Randall Stevenson and said we were going to get a $4,000 raise. It's all bullshit, and people bought it, and here we are. At employers like American Airlines and its Envoy and Piedmont subsidiaries, we are fighting for living wages. We have brothers and sisters working at these airlines who literally, and this is true, sell blood to put food on the table or make the rent. Shame on you, American Airlines, for failing to share your billions in profits. For failing to share your billions in profits and tax breaks with your employees. We are mobilizing, and with support of all CWA, American Airlines, I'm putting you on notice. You're going to pay. You are going to pay because we are going to make you. On the job creation front, Trump and AT&T's empty promises are even more dismal. AT&T CEO Randall Stevenson campaigned for the tax cut, promising the creation of 7,000 new jobs for every $1 billion in tax cuts that AT&T received. Well, he got his goddamn tax cuts, but we didn't get any jobs. Instead, AT&T has cut 7,000 jobs since the corporate tax bonanza was passed. No raise for us, and 7,000 jobs cut at AT&T. That's real bullshit, brothers and sisters. Worse still, the tax cuts for the wealthy will create such high deficits that now the House Republicans, in a fit of hypocritical righteous indignation, will propose cutting Medicare and robbing Social Security to pay for the deficits caused by their tax cuts. This is Robin Hood in reverse, the largest heist in history from the middle class for the 1%. I could spend my entire speech talking about what Trump is doing to this country, but let me cut to the bottom line. I simply cannot accept that this is what America is. I cannot accept that Donald Trump is what our country has come to. I am not going to take this lying down. I am going to fight back. Are you with me? Are you with me? I can't hear you. Well, brothers and sisters, the resistance movements that have arisen to take on Donald Trump over the last 19 months have been magnificent. But brothers and sisters, resistance is not enough. We need power to stop this man. We need to go from protest to politics, and from politics to power. Look, if our New Jersey members and our union could survive 8 years of that asshole Chris Christie, and now to be fighting with Democratic State Senate President Steve Sweeney, I told you so, and still prevail, we too will survive. Hell, we will more than survive. When, not if, but when we do our work, day in and day out, we will thrive. Not only survive, but thrive. Throughout that wasteland of the Christie administration's corrupt attack on public service, our members stood firm. We marched, we organized at our workplaces, in our communities, and politically to change New Jersey for the better. And we prevailed with a contract ratified by over 90% and more CWA members now than ever before in the history of this union. We can make change. We did make change. New Jersey is a model for the nation on how to respond to the current round of attacks on our union. To sustain and grow our union in these tough times, we must look to the past. We must renew the triple threat of our first president, Joe Byrne, and mobilize on all sides of the CWA triangle, as former President Cohen preached. For each side of the CWA triangle, representation, organizing, and coalition building supports the other. The image of a triangle is important. If a triangle doesn't have all three sides, it's a flat line. Well, flat line is the hospital code for dead, and we are far from dead. Even under the withering current attacks, we will not flatline. We are CWA. We are CWA strong. We will win. District 1 is the best in the nation at working these programs and making these programs work for our members. But even the best can get better. Let's start with the foundation of the CWA triangle: representation and bargaining. A deep, heartfelt thank you is owed to our Verizon members. You began the wave of strikes, along with the Fight for 15, that said to all bosses that we've had enough and we are not going to take it anymore. Your strike is still paying dividends for all the rest of us. Thank you, Verizon members. You set the stage for other workers to see the power of members in action, which carried our IUE CWA members on strike at Momentum in the cold of an upstate New York winter, and then exploded in West Virginia teachers' strike. Teachers stood up, walked out, and won for themselves new self-respect, a pay raise, and improvement in teaching conditions. They were followed by teachers in Oklahoma, Arizona, Kentucky, North Carolina, and Colorado. This red state revolt is member-led and inspirational. Verizon locals, thank you for starting this rock of militancy rolling downhill. Militancy is contagious, brothers and sisters. Victories spawn other victories. Young workers across the nation walked out for 3 days at AT&T Mobility. Our members at Frontier in West Virginia walked out. Throughout the Midwest and Legacy T, members at AT&T walked off the job in unfair labor practice strikes. They were protesting AT&T's high-handed direct dealing with our members and bypassing their elected members at the bargaining table. We've had enough of their corporate arrogance. We've had enough of the 1% and their TV messengers waging class war on us. We are standing up and fighting back. We are CWA. We are CWA strong. The second key side of the CWA triangle is our internal and external organizing programs that are essential to strengthening our ability to fight for our members. We anticipated the Janus decision and planned for it, knowing that the 1% will never give up on its attacks on the trade union movement. Our response was to use our strategic industry funds, so wisely created at the 2006 convention, to build a stronger CWA. At the first whiff of the elimination of agency fees in the public sector 2.5 years ago, we kicked off our CWA Strong program. In District 1, we've done phenomenal work led by Hetty Rosenstein, the New Jersey staff, and all our state locals. Starting in New Jersey and spreading across the river into the city public sector units, Carolyn Wade has been able to make one amazing report after another to our National Executive Board on the hard work and incredible progress in District 1. There's no place like District 1. Ken McNamara and Local 1037 delegates, stand up. Where are you? Stand up. I know you're here someplace. Local 1037 has pushed membership levels to a new high, 95%. But it's not only 1037. They're followed closely by Local 1040 at 89%. And Local 1036 at 86%. That, brothers and sisters, is our answer to the Janus decision. Don't mourn, organize. Over one half of our union members live in right-to-work for less states. Think about what that means. Think about what your local would look like in that environment. Every member, every dollar raised to support the fight for working families is a voluntary contribution. Each penny, if we can do it there, and we do it every day, we can do it here. And we must do it to preserve CWA for the next generation. Let's not forget external organizing. Dennis celebrated some inspirational wins yesterday, and I want to add my congratulations as well. There's been some really amazing organizing wins in District 1 over the last couple of years. Thank you, Dennis, and thank you, District 1. Our organizing wins start with brave, wonderful workers willing to step out and take on the boss. Finding these heroes ensures leadership, but it still doesn't guarantee success. Their slogan, and one we all should live by, is, "What would you do if you knew you could not fail?" We know that the majority of workers would join a union if they could. We know from our experience at AT&T Mobility and DirecTV that workers welcome the chance to join with us. We represent more than 45,000 AT&T Mobility members. More than 8,000 DirecTV workers joined CWA in a matter of months under our negotiated neutrality agreement with AT&T. Similarly, when we achieved neutrality at American Airlines, a function of our political power, another 15,000 members joined CWA. This experience has driven us to ask an important strategic question. How can we create corporate and political conditions which we can translate into corporate neutrality? That is why we need to keep the fight going at Verizon Wireless, and we will until we win. That is why we are working with Change to Win, Good Jobs Nation, and Jobs to Move America to demand that public procurement of dollars, our tax dollars, are used to create good-paying union jobs. After the recent June President's meeting, Sarah Steffens laid out our financial picture and the changes we will make as a result of the body blow to the union's finances by losing agency fee payers in the public sector. We are fine. We've adjusted. Let me tell you, there's never been a better, more proactive, visionary secretary-treasurer in the labor movement than Sarah. She's implementing new systems every single day and is a real CWA leader. I thought Sarah was going to be here, and I was going to ask her to stand up, but since she's not, give her a round of applause anyway. I missed one, of course. Sean Ludwig, 1038. Stand up, 86% membership. That's what happens when you do lists. Following Sarah's report to the presidents on our national union finances, a brother from District 3 rose and restated an old truth. We cannot cut our way out of these problems. We must grow. He went on to suggest making a permanent reallocation of growth and SIF funds to organizers so that we can grow and fight our way out of our problems. For those of us in this room that have been around a while, this is quite a shift of attitude from the District 3 of yesteryear that opposed the creation of the strategic industry funds. We need big, bold ideas and action like the brother from District 3 suggested. And I'm bringing it to our convention in 2019. Not everything we try will succeed, but we will learn from our successes and our failures. But we must be bold. It is bold for us to challenge Wall Street and the bankers who control the CEOs who run the companies where our members are employed. Thank you, Erin Mahoney, for your leadership with the Committee for Better Banks. Bank workers are powerful voices in our fight against Wall Street. Their poverty and inside views of their industry are counterweight to the greed of Wall Street and the finance industry. This campaign is seen across Capitol Hill as critical to building a better future for America. It is bold for us to take on the wireless industry. Dennis Traynor insisted during Unity at Mobility bargaining that we be bold, and our members responded in their unprecedented 3-day strike. Young members were transformed by this event, and we seeded the union with the next generation of activists. Let's recognize Tim Dubenow, who's also not here, for leading the creation of a brigade of AT&T Mobility members determined to organize Verizon Wireless and T-Mobile, and Pat Telesco, who coordinates our Orange Mobility contract bargaining. District 3 Vice President Richard Honeycutt and District 3 Organizing Director Tom Smith have a bold plan to build new membership organizations without collective bargaining rights among campus workers at the Southeastern Conference colleges. Building on the experience of the District 6 Texas State Employees Union and the recent successes of the United Campus Workers in Tennessee, we've committed to growing membership across the South. In the media sector, it is rewarding to hear Bernie Lunz's report that nearly 1,000 members have recently joined CWA, including many in District 1. These journalists are taking a stand for themselves, for the First Amendment, and for our democracy. The third side of the... Where's Grant Clixon? Grant, stand up. There's one of the locals that organize these folks. The third side of the triangle, movement building and community action, includes our legislative and political efforts. History teaches us that it is during the upswing of movement activity that the working class gains ground for our families and communities. We ended child labor, won an 8-hour workday, and established Social Security during the New Deal uprisings and the first wave of industrial organizing in the 1930s. In the 60s and 70s, we created Medicare and OSHA as public sector unionism climbed. Our gains were achieved during times of mass movements, great upheavals, and rejection of the status quo. Recreating these conditions must be a priority for us. We cannot go it alone. By ourselves, we will never have the power that we need to protect working families. We must do it together. The 99% must unite, or we will all dance to the tune of the 1%. There is a world of difference between Phil Murphy and Chris Christie.
Oh, yeah.
You heard Phil Murphy give what I hear was a great speech the other day, and you never heard Chris Christie here. There's a reason for that. Ask any New Jersey member about the outcome of the current budget fight. We succeeded because we asked members to join the union and join the fight for a decent contract, and they did. But we must also ask them to join our political movement. New Jersey Local 1037, again, leads the way here too, and for the first time has pushed COPE participation rates to double digits to lead the large public sector New Jersey units. Local 1180 delegates, stand up. Where are you, 1180? I know you're here. Now, this is just one of the reasons why I say District 1's the best goddamn district in this union. I asked them to stand up because they stand out as the largest COPE participants in the public sector in the United States of America in CWA. Thank you, Gloria Middleton, for your leadership in renewing your local. All 1180 members are being asked to sign and re-sign membership cards. We went from 60% cards on hand to 95% membership cards. Your unique engagement of retirees to expand the base of activists is the best in the union, in any union. Now, some of our locals, and you know who you are not pulling your weight in this critical program. Members can see the difference that political action makes. All of us must ask all of them to join COPE, and I know it's not COPE anymore, but I still call it COPE, and get involved politically. Members of Local 1168 know how important it is to combine politics and mobilization. With help from Bob Master and Debbie Hayes, the upstate New York staff, and Ann Luck, they've grown their COPE contributions to over 1,000 members. Their political mobilization, give them a hand. Where are you, 1168? Their political mobilization, along with their coalition building, will lead to the safe staffing bill finally being incorporated into the New York governor's budget and finally passed. Our members in the telecom industry know the importance of political action from the crucial political and community support we had during our Verizon strike. Locals 1106, 1108, 1107, 1060, 1395 all have over 50% of their members contributing to COPE. And there are several others approaching that threshold. Give them a hand. In New York, the call center bill, which passed the state assembly overwhelmingly last month, now has 41 out of 63 state senators signed on as co-sponsors. Ironically, and I've told both governors this, New York and New Jersey are going to have to catch up to Louisiana, of all places, where the governor has already signed a call center bill into law. No one on this earth ever thought we could create political power in Louisiana, but goddamn it, we have. We can point to the fruits of our struggle and signs of progress against the tremendous forces aligned against us. But we need to double down. We need to get stronger. In case you hadn't heard, there is going to be an election this fall. That election could not be more critical. We must have one House of Congress that can block Donald Trump's attacks on working people, that can block Donald Trump's giveaways to corporate America and the 1%, that can hold him accountable when he lies to the media, the prosecutors, and the people, mostly the prosecutors. We must have one House of Congress that can stop him from bankrupting our government and stop him from cutting Medicare and Social Security to make up the difference. And together, brothers and sisters, we will. We are at a crossroads in this country and in the labor movement. Business as usual just won't cut it. Brothers and sisters, we need to work like our lives depended on it, because they do. Are you ready to work? Are you ready to fight? Brothers and sisters, the future is ours to make. The times are tough, but we are tougher. The challenges are great, but our union is greater. Brothers and sisters, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Now is the time. This is the place. We are going to fight like hell. We are going to fight. And you know what? We're going to win. We are going to win because together with all of us, we are unstoppable. Thank you, District 1.